Lately, we haven't been doing as much. It hasn't been easy. We're ready to get back out there.
Living life a day at a time.
Toyo Tires will be there,
Take a ride,
taking you where you want to go.
feeling free, happy and strong, on the road where we belong.
Toyo Tires, making tires for your road.
On the road where we belong.
Mid-season, the championship battles are tightening and there is absolutely no margin for error. Welcome to round 6 of the 2026 Toyo Tires F1600 Championship, presented by BIS, live from Circuit Zandvoort. This place doesn't warm you up, it never has. 14 corners, 2 bank turns, no forgiveness. Zandvoort is fast, undulating and brutally honest. If you're quick here, you've earned it. If you're not, there's nowhere to hide. This is proper old school European motorsport. Momentum matters, commitment matters more. You don't wrestle lap time out of Zandvoort, you massage it, trusting the banking and dancing on the edge of adhesion through the high-speed crests. And fittingly, we race on land, consistently shifting with the wind. Carved directly into the coastal dunes of the North Sea, this track was built to challenge nerve as much as machine. Decades later, nothing's changed, only now its drivers being hunted by lap time, pressure, and each other. Drop points are applied, excuses are gone, and championships begin to reach the tipping point. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pit Road Productions. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining us in the production booth today, we have the one and only Mr. Morgan Smith, and not only that, we have a guest producer today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only Mr. Dustin Ellis. Morgan, I understand you've got some track information for us, sir.
Absolutely, Zippy. Thanks for having me tonight. Welcome to Zandvoort, folks, one of the most technical and rhythmic circuits on the calendar. It starts flat out into Tarzan Corner. Brave on entry, precise on exit. Get it right and you're attacking immediately. Get it wrong and you're defending before the lap's even begun. Downhill through Gerlach, fast, flowing, and unforgiving. Lift too much and your lap is gone. Then, Hugenholtz, high banking with no room for hesitation. Through Shevlak, courage is everything. Overdrive it and you lose the rear. Stay smooth and the car comes alive. Next, Masters into turn 9. Fast, blind, and always waiting to catch drivers out. This is where races unravel. Out of the technical section, it's hard onto the brakes for the Hans Ernst chicane. No mirrors, no second thoughts, just commitment. Finally, Kumo in the Leeuwenhoek, banking bring you home. Strong exits matter here. Get it wrong and you're vulnerable all the way down the straight. 2 banked corners, just 14 turns that reward the brave and punish the careless. This is the venue for round 6 of the Toyo Tires F1600 Winter Series.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, let's take a look at the schedule, see indeed where we've been and where we're going. So, ladies and gentlemen, we started off at Road 1, my personal favourite track of Road Atlanta, before heading to Round 2, that British Grand Prix circuit of Silverstone. Round 3, Reese Gardner's personal favourite, it's Phillip Island, with Round 4 taking us over to a new circuit in the iRacing service. It is the one and only Mexico City. Round 5 took us over to Alton Park before taking us here to Round 6 today. Round 7, though, will be at the home track of BIS. We're going to be at Motorsport before Round 8 closes off in the Kent track of Brands Hatch.
We do have an exciting event tonight for the Toyo Tires F1600 Winter Series. We are going to start with 80 minutes of practice, which the guys have basically taken care of. Open qualifying was 20 minutes long, and we're going to be jumping right into Sprint Race 1 for 15 minutes. Little to no break, and Sprint Race 2 goes off for 15 minutes with the top 5 grid inverted. We're going to have a small break before the final heat with a 5-minute warm-up session where the top 10 grid is inverted for the last 15-minute heat. We are fixed setup, which does allow for the brake bias adjustment. So these guys do have a little bit of say in their setup, but not much, Hippie.
Well, definitely my personal favourite has always been fixed setup. But let's take a look here at the championship points. In Pro, the benchmark has been reinforced, and it's a serious one. Out front sits Christian Muniz for Brian Graham Racing. 220 points on the board. Calm, calculated, relentlessly effective. Muniz hasn't just led the championship, he's controlled it. And that makes him the man everyone else has to beat. Chasing him down is Clay Morris in the PRP Britannia car. Get in. 14 points back and keeping the pressure high. Aggressive, committed, and never short on confidence, Morris knows this circuit rewards drivers who attack. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely fantastic stuff. As we move over to the AM Championship, and over in AM, the gap is widening, but the fight isn't over. At the top, Alex McLean for PRP Britannia leads the way on 230 points. Calm, consistent, and rarely putting a foot wrong, McLean has been the reference so far. Not flashy, just effective. Fair play. But the chasing pack is reshuffling. Cedric O'Hine for Lima Racing now sits second, 32 points back. He knows consistency alone won't be enough to catch the leader. At some point, he'll need to make a statement. Neither championship is claimed, but there's still a long way to go. Let's see what the second half brings. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, ladies and gentlemen. As we have the team championship as well, PRP Britannia surprisingly at the top of the leaderboard ahead of Lima Racing, 164 points back. There, the racing gets even closer. That is about 9 points in the difference between themselves and Rust Racing Iron, ladies and gentlemen, with Britannia iSports in fourth. And then just under the 400 bracket, we've got Rust Racing Oxide rounding out your top five. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed getting to the end of the qualifying session. I've got to say, what an absolutely fantastic view. And if you're wondering why indeed we have Morgan Smith here in the booth, and indeed why we got Dustin Ollis, so Christian has taken a little bit of a break this week, and therefore we've been given the treat of Dustin Ollis. Ladies and gentlemen, the man is a legend. This guy produces real-life broadcasts as well. Like, let's give some respect where due. We do have some royalty here in the booth, and I don't mean myself and Morgan, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact I have Princess approved tracks by all means. But not only that, we do indeed have Morgan Smith. And why do we have Morgan Smith? Well, ladies and gentlemen, myself, Reese, and him have been taking it in turns to go out every week. And this time we got Reese Gardner representing us on the commentary side. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the grid, and absolutely interesting stuff here. Clay Morris takes pole for PRP Britannia with 143 for 205. Incredibly close with Christian Muniz there in second. Heading back to third, we got Asad Nikardovev, a young prodigy, ladies and gentlemen. He's there alongside Tyler Scarelli for fourth. Taking away back to the third row, in fifth, we're going to have Michael Broomhead for Britannia iSports itself, with Mark McDonald for Rust Racing Iron in sixth. Over in seventh, we got Brady Clapham. That is a real-life radical driver, ladies and gentlemen, as is John Benblid, both of these for Lima Racing in seventh and eighth. Over in ninth, we got Pit Road Productions' very own Mr. Reese Gardner, with Roger Sieber alongside in 10th. Moving our way back down to 11th, we got Alex McLean alongside Wyatt Cormier. Making our way down to 13th, we got Mitchell Ian Green and Cedric O'Hine alongside in 14th. Before we head to the back of the grid, ladies and gentlemen, he might not be fast, but he does make it last. It's Richard Swindell's in 15th, with Jonathan Kazan alongside in 16th, with Robert Covey, the greatest beard Britannia iSports has ever seen, closing out your 17-car grid. Well, I've got to say, absolutely fantastic stuff. But in the meantime, let's get a chat here with one of these drivers. Richard Swindells, we've got you here in the commentary booth. What's going to be your method of approach here for this absolutely phenomenal race we've got planned for BIS?
Don't crash, Zippy. That's number one rule.
Well, definitely good to see you out here on the grid. Indeed, you're starting in 15th there, and you've got a couple of people nearby. Who would be the biggest driver on the grid you'd want to be today?
Reese Gardner, of course.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get a little bit of friendly rivalry here between Reese and Richard. Both of these gentlemen have been commentators here on Pit Road Productions. Also, just so we know, Jake Enns has decided to back Reese on this one, so a little bit of friendly rivalry. But we are going to let you get back to it, Richard, and by all means, the best of luck. Certainly, your attrition throughout the series has been absolutely incredible, and we do indeed wish you the best of luck. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a standing start. Clay Morris is going to be under the pressure. And ladies and gentlemen, away they go as we get this first race of the evening underway. And already you can see Clay Morris is going to go and try and get down to that defensive line there. And you're going to see Asad Nikardovev on the attack as well. 3 wide, almost 2 wide there going into turn 1. And already we've got some moves position. Christian Muniz takes the lead. As I say that, Clay Morris fights back with Asad Nikardovev now applying a healthy amount of pressure. As further back, Mark McDonald and Tyler Scarelli go side to side through turn 2.
Interesting to see, Zippy. They did not clear the debris between qualifying and the race, so there was some debris on the outside of turn 1. So if anyone's missing their brake zone, they could be in for some extra trouble out here.
Well, already we can see a couple of drivers having a little bit of a move up through the field. And indeed, Mark McDonald, the hard charge right now, he is indeed up 2 positions. Indeed, a couple of people making passes, but nothing too far yet. Ladies and gentlemen, cold tires indeed, as right now Mark McDonald currently up 2 spots, but can he stay with the lead pack? Clay Morris, Christian Muniz, and Asad Nikardovev all very, very capable drivers. Clay Morris as well, 4,249 I rating. Christian Muniz, 4,728 I rating. These are two of the highest ranked drivers in the server. Apart from Roger Stever, ladies and gentlemen, he's also in that 4,500 IR bracket. It's been a while since we've seen him. Definitely welcome back there, Roger. But indeed, the biggest thing they're going to have to think about these Formula 1600s is to make sure they stay with the pack and don't just go for the outright position here as they make their way around on lap 1.
Absolutely. There's a lot of room out on the track tonight, Zippy, but still you see these guys using every inch of the track and all of the curves just like that, even some on the grass there. So definitely pushing the pace, and it's important to stay in line in that slipstream.
As you can see here, Clay Morris doing about 140 kilometers an hour, ladies and gentlemen. As indeed, we got something happening there with number 15 here. Tyler Scaralli has taken to the scenic route, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely, he is a gentleman and a scholar, but he's not part of the landscaping crew, despite having that slight detour. That's going to push him back down 12 positions from where he started. And already can see side by side, ladies and gentlemen, as we have a look a little bit further. Oh no! A crash on the straightaway. That's Reese Gardner and I believe Brady Clapham. Wow. And there's more casualties as well. That looks like Alex McLean able to sneak through. There goes to 36 there. Oh my gosh, that's Cedric O'Hyan. They're definitely going to have to see a replay of that. I suspect netcode may have come into play, but I was not expecting that. And multiple drivers there picking up meatball flags. Ladies and gentlemen, we have enough for a table of 4 on this occasion here as Cedric O'Hyan, Brady Clapham, Reese Gardner, and indeed Wyatt Cormier all picking up the meatball flag.
Assad Nakatembev and Christian Muniz making contact there as well.
Well, here you can see the replay. That's what happened to Tyler Scaralli there. Got a little bit too flirtatious with the track limits, but right now the battle for the lead is getting intense there as the Assad Nakatembev has indeed made his way up into P2, but Clay Morris looking to fight back as they go side by side through the right-hander. Christian Muniz is absolutely looking to try and capitalize on this opportunity. He's already got 4 tenths, almost 5 tenths of a second ahead. Mark McDonald, though, having a little bit of competition there from John Bemble as they go side by side through the left-hander.
Assad driving aggressive, but Christian Muniz not backing out. That's the second or third time they've touched cars now, so hopefully these guys can get it under wraps. And Clay Morris down in 3rd place now. He's still on the podium, but looking to get those spots back.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You can see what happened on the start finish. There's the lead. Oh my gosh, that had to hurt. That definitely was not what they had in mind. Wyatt Cormier, the innocent bystander there, but it did look like they had a... I don't think they realized they were that close to each other, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe a little bit of netcode as well. An absolute pandemonium, ladies and gentlemen. And definitely, it's worked out in the favor of a couple of these drivers. Mitchell Ian Green has managed to make his way up 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen. Currently the hard charger in the field. He's currently there in P8 overall.
Michael Broomhead here also able to capitalize in the back of this pack, putting himself in a good position with Slipstream in the 6th position right now behind John Van Willett and Mark McDonald.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there. Broomhead looking to try and make his way forward. As Tyler Scaralli, you saw him get caught in an instant earlier, and he's just going to set the fastest lap. Absolutely phenomenal stuff there from Scaralli. Definitely, he's competing in the pro class, but right now the AM class, your points leader, Alex McLean, is looking to score a few more, as is Richard Swindell. Ladies and gentlemen, he's currently in P2 in the AM class. It's going to be a very good day for the AM. So up front, though, Christian Muniz has been very much brought back into the reins here by Assad Nakatembev.
Alex McLean has been having a great BIS FF1600 series so far, Zippy. Even Cedric O'Hyan, part of that, with a little bit of the sympathy spin after that big situation there earlier that we just watched on replay, he is still in P4, so very competitive AM class tonight, and I expect a lot more action to come.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. I'm impressed to see Tyler as well getting that fastest lap as well. But right now, Assad Nakatembev very much going to be applying the pressure. Don't get me wrong, this young lad is indeed a prodigy. Ladies and gentlemen, he has started in go-karts and has already been racing spec racer Fords as well. And don't get me wrong, it'd be great to see him get behind the wheel of a Formula 1600. I do have no doubt in my mind he would indeed be potent. As something's happening with Alex McLean a little bit further back, it looks like Mitchell Green's managed to make his way by. As McLean, not only that, has fallen back another spot, ladies and gentlemen, and now tucks behind Tyler Scaralli. Don't get me wrong, his competition is really not with Mitchell Green and Tyler Scaralli, but don't get me wrong, he still wants to be further up through the order and maybe have a couple of cars between him to try and buffer that gap. Saying that, it's 3 seconds between himself and the number 16 of Richard Swindells.
Here we are with the lead with Assad taken around the outside by Christian Muniz. Looks like Assad is able to hold it down. Christian Muniz tucking back in for now.
Well, absolutely incredible battling so far, ladies and gentlemen, which is exactly what we expect here on BIS Britannia iSports. You can see there having a little bit of a peek there through the fence as they go through that banked curve. But right now, I can tell you all drivers are indeed Well, the meatball flags have been cleared. I can tell you that Cedric O'Hyan has made it back out on track, ladies and gentlemen. Brady Clapham, Reese Gardner, and Wyatt Cormier, though, still there in the pits. But that is the good thing about heat racing, ladies and gentlemen. We will have more opportunities for these drivers to get back into it. But right now, you can see this lead battle. As Assad Nakano has taken the lead, but not been able to pull away there from Christian Muniz. And don't get me wrong, he's going to need to pull out one hell of a lap to do so. But look at Mark McDonald there in the background, John Benvalid as well. It really is a battle between first all the way down to sixth. And we see a move on the inside there. That's Tyler Scarelli trying to make the moves here on Alex McLean.
The Lima Racing boys have been doing a lot of driving together in the 1600s this season so far in BIS, but we see Ben Willett here putting in kind of a solo effort in P5, so I'm excited for him. I'm hoping that he can, move his way up in this small pack here and potentially even take a look at the podium later this evening.
Well, definitely some things very much at stake, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to say, poor Risa getting involved in the incident. It's almost like Irish driving if we wanted that kind of action, ladies and gentlemen. But as you can see on board here with John Benvalid. Now, don't get me wrong, these Lima Racing guys are nothing short of legends in my mind. And if you ever get to see that Radical in real life, ladies and gentlemen, it has a Pit Road Productions logo on it and indeed a BIS logo on it. Nothing but love for that. But here we go. The battle for the lead is on as Christian Muniz retakes that. But Assad Nakano not want to give up without a fight as it goes side by side through turn one.
These guys just have so much room around these corners, Zippy, that they're able to take multiple lines, but the pace for each car kind of changes in and out as they go through the corner. So look at this, Muniz on the outside is going to carry more speed down here and still be pressuring Assad and taking the inside with a nice crossover there. So very exciting track. Zandvoort lends to some great side-by-side action, and it's exciting to be here today.
Yeah, it definitely is one of Reese Gardner's favourite tracks as well. You can see Assad Nakano, if he gets any closer, he's indeed going to have the nose cone of that Formula 1600 up the tailpipe, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed the pressure is on. These guys are less than a tenth of a second between each other. Absolutely phenomenal stuff.
Wow, John Benwillid getting a little bit loose there in the rear, but able to keep it together. That was great.
Well, as you see the battle continuing, I'm keeping an eye here on Mark McDonald. He's in that green and white car in the background, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see that he's very much biding his time at this point, but you can see he is applying all of the pressure here, as right now, certainly Michael Broomhead as well in the 00 car has been able to stay with that, but keep an eye here on Roger Sieber as well. That last lap, he didn't quite have the pace, ladies and gentlemen. He was a bit slower, but don't get me wrong, I have a feeling as the session goes on, he will indeed start to find a little bit more performance out of that Formula 1600.
This lead pack has not broken up at all, Zippy. It's very exciting to have this many cars in the running for podium positions. If anything were to happen to any of these cars, opportunities all over for these guys. So I expect a big finish here in the next 4 laps.
Yeah, there we go. Trying to multitask, ladies and gentlemen, and fair play, I can't do it when it comes to spoken word. As you can see here, from the back end of Assad Nakano, Christian Muniz looking to try and apply even more pressure. Clay Morris getting into the mix here as well. And you can see just behind him, John Benvalid as well, still in this lead pack. Roger Sieber's still about 2.8 seconds back. We've got a battle going on for P9 as well, ladies and gentlemen. Alex McLean and Ian Green have been going at it for a little while. Tyler Scarelli has cleared them both. As these two guys, it's purple versus pink on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, it is a battle out of class, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Richard Swindells has lost a little bit more time here to McLean, as that gap was 3 seconds and now up to 4.1.
You just mentioned purple and pink, Zippy. We don't get too much time to comment on these guys' paints, but everyone's showing up, team driving out there in their own way with their paints. I'm a big fan of the Britannia cars personally. I really like the fluorescent color and the chrome, so shout out to these guys always showing up in good-looking cars and putting down equally as good racing on track. Absolutely.
You can see here I don't really know how to describe that helmet, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go with vibrant and colourful. I think maybe the best of words here. But right now, you see the 69 car is looking to try and make his way back up to P9. Clay Morris, though, has indeed taken that fastest lap a couple of laps ago. His best time currently being a 1:43.2, which is about a tenth of a second quicker than the Assad Nakano, who's currently at the front of this pack.
It looks like Clay Morris still with the fastest lap with a 43.2 as well. So looks like really Slipstream is the answer to really get those times down. But all these guys running good. Whoa, boy. That's Alex McLean. Richard Swindells is going to capitalize.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if he may not be fast, but he does indeed make it last. You can see here, just ended up getting a little bit too close together, ladies and gentlemen. And Alex McLean, it's fair to say, I hope he had consent for that move, because indeed he royally mounted that Formula 1600.
Yeah, as a GT driver myself, Zippy, it's fun to watch these cars make contact. Unfortunate for the drivers, but it's definitely different how these cars interact when they do make contact. Jumping off each other and able to park on top of each other, so to speak, like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very different experience, ladies and gentlemen. If you are and you're sim racing or indeed real racing, real life racing, it's all real racing, ladies and gentlemen. It's just different platforms, we'll put it like that. But certainly, an accident or an incident there's very different emotions involved. As a driver, it is an emotional roller coaster, and certainly it can be catastrophic. As a broadcaster, however, it's greatly entertaining indeed as a viewer as well. Don't get me wrong. In real life, we don't ever want to see anybody crash or get hurt, or indeed, cars get broken. But certainly, it does make for a discussion point. As oh my gosh, they're at it again, ladies and gentlemen. As along goes Jonathan Verkazen. I've got a feeling we may have a little bit of a grudge match between these two drivers now, as McLean has hit the incident point limit and picked up a black flag and looked like a bit of damage there. Indeed it was on Mitchell Green. He's now got a meatball flag as well.
There is multiple heat races tonight, Zippy, but still these kinds of results for Alex McLean are going to impact his championship with those good results earlier this season. Let's get a closer look here.
Yeah, it just looks like they got a bit too close, and it's almost a repeat of the same incident earlier. They just ended up getting a little bit too close, had a line of free wheels vertically, and that was it, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, maybe a low-risk, high-reward strategy, to quote my iRacing mentor, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. C.R. Reed, who we have been trying to convince to get in the commentary booth, to which he has not prevailed, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Assad Nakanabev going on the aggressive side with just 2 laps to go there. A little bit of a correction, actually a lot of correction there on corner exit, but nevertheless, he has managed to briefly clear Clay Morris as Morris fights back, and they switch around again. The whole time though, Christian Muniz able to pull away about 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Assad as well. We do have a driver can on him occasionally throughout the BIS series, and we do see him using a shifter. So at parts of this race, he does have one hand on the wheel. So quite the experience with him driving is a lot different than some of the other drivers there, with him using a manual shifter while he races.
Yeah, it's a H pattern as well, and I gotta say, I wish I had the talent this kid had. Like, he is phenomenally talented, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll take that, not just in the sim, but in the real world as well. He's shown potential, and don't get me wrong, in the long run, I'd love to see him in Formula 1, for example. That would be phenomenal, and if you do, Assad, I'll take some free tickets if you don't mind. That's all I ask. I will happily... I'll be your PR guy, whatever you like. We can figure something out. But the biggest thing is get there first, and certainly we'll cheer for you the entire time. But right now, he's going to need a little bit more than that, as Christian Muniz is currently standing in the way in the 295.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Assad is settled in, trying to make his move in the last lap or not, but Christian Muniz is driving confidently in the lead, in making room for these guys, kind of plowing the air aside. And no one else seems to be able to have the pace to really sneak up and get next to him anymore. So Christian Muniz with a great drive so far, and hopefully he can finish it out with the last lap.
Well, certainly this is where strategy is going to come into play, ladies and gentlemen. On best lap time, there is just 7 thousandths of a second separating Christian Muniz and indeed Assad Nakanabev. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, 7 thousandths of a second. Doesn't get much closer than that, and that's exactly what we want to see here in BIS and indeed on Pit Road Production as they do begin the final lap. Christian Muniz currently leading. He is up 1 spot from the start. Clay Morris took pole. Can Clay Morris in the 48 find a way to get back to the front of this pack, ladies and gentlemen? In the meantime, though, Mark McDonald, you can see him a little bit further back. He's dropped back. All he can hope for at this point is that these guys come together. Indeed, Michael Bream had fallen back a little bit as well. This could get very, very interesting here in the final stages of this first race.
It looks like Clay Morris is getting racy, Zippy. Looking for the opportunities here.
Oh, he's definitely going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go 3 wide for a second there. Clay Morris takes the outside line. Christian Muniz is going to be the meat in that sandwich. Look at Mark McDonald come back into play. He was 0.8 of a second back before. Are we going to see 4 wide? Potentially, these Formula 1600s do tend to allow a lot of side-by-side racing. There goes Clay Morris, ladies and gentlemen, with the bunny hop. Tony Hawk would have approved of that one. Or indeed Matt Armstrong, because he used to be BMX as well. But right now, I've got to say, taking the scenic route there was Clay Morris, and this has worked out perfectly for the Formula the former Formula 1600 Championship, ladies and gentlemen, Mark McDonald. He has had the pleasure of driving one of these cars in real life, and now he's looking to apply even more pressure there. Contact between the right front and the left rear between McDonald and Moniz, and look at that. John Benblid sees opportunity as well. Clay Morris fighting with Michael Broomhead further back for P5, but it's all going to come down to the final couple of corners. Christian Moniz runs a little bit wide. He's going to get a fantastic exit though, tucked in right behind Assad and Carnenbever. Is there going to be the real estate here? As, oh my gosh, 2 wide, 3 wide. Mark McDonald looking to try and find a way by as they bring it down to the start finish straight and across the line. Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Moniz gets it by 42. No, it's just changed. Oh my, Clay Morris in the background, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely incredible racing, ladies and gentlemen. We might need a photo finish of that one. Incredible
Mark
stuff.
McDonald linking up with Christian Moniz there and leaving Assad stranded there.
Yeah, there we go. Let's take a look here from a more aerial view, ladies and gentlemen. Look, here you go. Here goes Mark McDonald. Clay Morris looks to try and split the two. Doesn't quite get it and has contact there with the right rear of Assad and Carnenbever. Gets a little bit of a pop-up wheelie here, and you'll see him rejoin and start playing here with Michael Broomhead. Indeed, these two comrades very much, very well acquainted, indeed good honest battling. But it's the start-finish I want to see near the end, particularly Christian Moniz and indeed Mark McDonald, Assad and Carnenbever. All of these guys separated by less than a tenth of a second. Absolutely incredibly close racing. Exactly what we want to see here on Pit Road Productions.
Yeah, Zippy, as we mentioned. Oh, here we go with the replay.
Well, absolutely fantastic stuff, as I definitely sympathise for our producer at that point, as the session has indeed just flipped to the next one. But I can promise you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see more of that. Let's take a look here at the results here from Heat 1. In first place, by literally a hair, ladies and gentlemen, was Christian Moniz, with Mark McDonald very cheekily taking second. Assad and Carnenbever had to settle for third, with John Benblid sneaking up into fourth. Mike Broomhead took fifth, with Clay Morris relegated down to sixth, with Roger Sieber in seventh, Tyler Scarelli taking eighth. Richard Swindell, he gets the M-Class podium, indeed ninth place overall, with Jonathan Pakazen rounding out your top 10.
In 11th place, we had Cedric O'Hyan, followed by Alex McLean in 12th place. Mitchell Green in 13th, with Wyatt Cormier in 14th. 15th place is our very own Reese Gardner, followed by Brady Clapham in 16th, and Robert Covey in 17th place tonight.
Hey, actually, I'm wondering if Robert Covey even started the race at that point, because I didn't see him get tied up in an incident. I believe he was on the grid, ladies and gentlemen, so certainly we'll have to keep an eye out there for our bearded friend indeed. But what an absolutely fantastic result. And you see they're going across the line. Beautiful slow-mo, Dustin, as indeed that was a fantastic finish to the first race. Looking forward to seeing more of that here for Heat 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I hiccup very gracefully, let's take a look here at the grid for race number 2. Let's say some beautiful scenic views here from Zandvoort. Definitely a little bit of elevation change in places, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly loving the water feature, which I'm going to call a lake, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I do wonder if people do indeed go swim. But certainly we're going to keep the grid on hold for a few minutes. Dustin, Morgan, let's get a couple of thoughts from yourself here very, very quickly before these guys take the green.
Absolutely, Zippy. We briefly mentioned... Oh, looks like we're going to be taking the green light here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, away they go. And a little bit of a slow start there from Michael Broomhead, but indeed Assad and Carnenbever absolutely launches off the line, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, John Benblid really able to capitalize on that so far as well. He's managed to take himself up into the lead for Lima Racing. Indeed, we've got multiple people out on here, and I do believe Robert Covey is indeed racing, ladies and gentlemen. Nope. He's not. I don't see him on that list. Robert Covey must have had to disappear. But indeed, Michael Broomhead already under pressure, ladies and gentlemen, as John Benblid applying all sorts of pressure there. And Assad and Carnenbever is going to be looking to try and capitalize as well. Clay Morris in the mix as well. Christian Moniz right behind with Mark McDonald very much in tow.
In race 1, Zippy, we did mention both Michael Broomhead and Ben Willard in 6th and 8th place, respectively. They had moved up into the top 5 for this inverted grid, and now we find them in the top 3 here. So hopefully these guys can capitalize and make the most of the opportunity they gave themselves by having a good result in race 1.
And indeed, we've already got the pack starting to separate up a little bit there, but not by much. Reese Gardner already picked up a meatball flag, ladies and gentlemen. We have to see exactly what happened with him there. Certainly not the race he was looking for, ladies and gentlemen. As right now, Michael Broomhead holding on to the lead with, oh my gosh, what a slide there. Cold tires from the 00. And indeed, fantastic recovery, ladies and gentlemen, but as a result, that is indeed going to cost him the lead. As you see there, John Benblade getting very spicy, trying to defend from Clay Morris and also find his way up to the front of the grid.
Looks like Assad is not wasting any time making his way to the lead of this. He is maybe thinking he can sneak away from these guys, Zippy, while there is still some cold tires in these guys driving in line. Maybe he can get a small gap and kind of close out race 2 early here.
Well, definitely that's going to be what he wants to do. Let's see exactly what happened to Reese Garner there, as that looked like he got a little bit of a tap from behind. I'll take a look from another angle very shortly. Don't get me wrong, he looks very, very good doing it, ladies and gentlemen. He's literally borrowed my car for this week. You see a beautiful salmon decal on the side of it. I have a feeling that's not the paint that you maybe wear. Maybe a different paint as well snuck in there. But right now, though, Michael Broomhead sadly falling back through the field. Here's an aerial shot, ladies and gentlemen. You see Alex McLean a little bit of contact issue, and then just gets a little bit of a nudge from 2 cars on that one. As, oh dear, there goes Broomhead, there goes Benvalid, and thankfully they will be able to continue the race there, but definitely not what they had in mind.
Oh man, I feel a little bit bad about that. I should have left their names off the commentators' curse list this evening.
Well, if it makes you feel better any better there, Morgan, I take zero responsibility for when these incidents happen here. There's absolutely fantastic stuff here. Checking out this lead battle. There goes Benbley, gets a little bit loose there. Broomhead gets caught around with it, and thankfully the rest of the guys able to continue the race. Beautiful production there, Dustin, as well. That was lovely. As right now, though, it's Asad Nakatov leading by the biggest lead we've seen so far here tonight. It's about 0.7 of a second.
Christian Muniz is in P2, but he is, getting challenged for the slipstream by Assad. So any more lead that Assad can gain is going to be challenging the slipstream distance for Christian. So once Christian loses that, he could be in for some trouble if he doesn't get any help from the pack behind him.
Yeah, definitely. You got to weigh up the pros and cons. Just how hard do you want to battle? And indeed, that we've definitely got to choose it strategically. Clay Morris is going to be there. He's going to be looking to try and make a recovery. And indeed, battles happening throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen. P1 all the way down to P11, ladies and gentlemen, are separated by about maximum 0.8 of a second between each of them. Incredible stuff. And even then, Michael Broomhead got in a battle there with Jonathan McKazen battling for P12 at the 923.
Alex McLean and Mitchell Green look like they have magnets on their cars tonight, Zippy. The pink and purple cannot get away from each other.
Yeah, I have a feeling this could indeed be a Starbucks righty incident should this happen again, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the bubblegum flavoured cars have been getting into a couple of collisions, and hopefully they do not indeed stick together, as indeed it's been a little bit of a chaotic race for them. But right now we see a little bit further up, Richard Swindell's yet again leading the M class, and the M class, and this time Reese Gardner appearing on the side of that car. I have to admit, I have made appearances myself. I do think Morgan Smith is going to be due on that one as well, but blah 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 racing, ladies and gentlemen, certainly having a good day today.
Yes, he does not disappoint with his paints. I know Reese is a big fan of that one in particular. I myself, I appreciate anyone that sits down and puts the time into customizing their car. So it's all part of the fun, and that's what we're here for.
Indeed we are, and certainly it is a pleasure to have BIS here on Pit Road Productions. And actually the whole reason Pit Road Productions came to existence, ladies and gentlemen. We had some other broadcasters. It didn't really work out. We had one that basically disappeared and said, screw it, we could do it better. And look what happened, ladies and gentlemen. The channel has grown quite impressively, actually. I'm very pleased with that. And we're almost 1,000 subscribers as well. So we'd love to hit that target. We did hope to hit it by the end of 2025, but if you could hit that subscribe button and certainly hit that share button as well. Likes are nice, but the share button means more to me personally, because we would love to hit 1,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. That would indeed be a milestone for us. And right now, you can see why, as indeed these two cars, Mitchell Green and Alex McLean, are still duking it out, with Richard Swindell's pretty much trying to run away from the pair of them. Cedric O'Hyeno currently leading the M class.
I wonder if Alex McLean made a mistake, because earlier I did think Mitchell Green kind of gave him the position. Looks like we're going back to the lead here with Assad. Very tight pack here. Looks like we're going 2 and 3 wide into a corner.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Mark McDonald looking to try and capitalize it on well. Certainly McDonald, I can say from past experience, generally a very consistent driver as well. As yet again, Tyler Scarelli has taken the fastest lap. This man has got pace today, and currently he is being almost held back there in P5. Roger Seaver, though, I wouldn't discount him in that 183. We've seen him here in BIS Formula 1600 before, and definitely a name I would expect to see chasing a podium.
We do see the usuals up in the front of the pack with Assad, Muniz, and Clay Morris, but Zandvoort having and providing some good opportunity for a lot of drivers tonight with a lot of pace. This is a popular track on the service, and some of these guys clearly know their way around Zandvoort tonight. Scarelli being a prime example here.
Well, fun fact for you, Morgan. I believe this is the secretary. It may even be the same person, ladies and gentlemen. I think it might be Maxime Armand, who was watching there. And basically, they're watching on a plane, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, I would love to see a picture of somebody watching Pit Road Productions on a plane, because to me, that's pretty unique. I can't say I've seen that too often. But also, we've got somebody else I don't recognize in the chat there. Edith, great to see you there. Like the last lap races, for example. Absolutely phenomenal action going on. Indeed, plenty more to come as you see Asad Nakarnov currently holding on to that win. But for how long? The 295 of Christian Muniz, he's definitely no slouch behind the wheel. He has got real-world Formula 1600 experience, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly he's given Asad Nakarnov a good run for his money.
Yeah, Assad and Muniz having great battles tonight. Clay Morris has been doing a lot of driving in third place, but that is not a bad spot always, Zippy. When people are pushing each other like Muniz and Assad here, they can make mistakes, and third place is a great spot to all of a sudden be in second or first.
Indeed, it looks like Tyler Scarelli's decided to take a little bit of a peek there as well, and Mark McDonald falls back into line. Still got the fastest lap of the race so far, but didn't manage to hold on to it for the entirety of race one, but certainly this bunch of drivers here have managed to pull away from Roger Sieber. The gap now about 1.6 seconds. We've got two main packs, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the lead pack, indeed the second pack being led by Brady Clapham, the 77 in 7th place.
These guys are also equally matched out there, Zippy. I know we've all put a little bit of time on track with these guys ourselves, and 15 minutes just absolutely flies by. You get loose in one corner, you lose a spot, and it feels like an eternity. You're chasing that same driver down, trying to get that spot back. So there's really no room for error out here. And these guys are really laying it down every corner with, as you said earlier, high risk and minimal to low reward here. But you really can't take it easy or you're going to pay the price.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do indeed have a little bit of a fan club going in the YouTube chat. And I think that's primarily for me, but we've also got cheers for Tyler Scarelli as well. So I've got a feeling it's going to be... I have a feeling it might be Harlan Goldburn actually as well. Just looking at the fact it's an H, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly they are very much roasting, and in the most affectionate of ways. But definitely good to have you in the chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and by all means roast me some more. It's fair game, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Morgan as well. You can roast him. He never gets burned. It's always me and Reese, mainly me. But right now you can see Christian Muniz is currently leading, but Clay Morris looking to try and make a move up on the inside here of Asad Nakarnov. Now don't get me wrong, he's got nobody to slipstream ahead as Asad Nakarnov thinks about trying to split the two between them and has to fall back in line. As I say that, looks to go down the middle and has the door very firmly shut. Mark McDonald, though, getting a little bit of a slide. Him trying to make his way forward as they go free wide around turn one. And oh no, Nakarnov gone round.
I'm anxious to see if he did that by himself or if he had a little help from Clay Morris getting pinched.
Well, definitely, when you're going free wide, it can be very, very hard to understand exactly where all these cars are around you. But Asad Nakarnov has indeed picked up a meatball flag. That is not going to be the result he'd be looking for. But right now, Clay Morris has indeed taken the front of this race with Christian Muniz right behind and Mark McDonald lurking in the background of third.
Mark McDonald finds himself in a great spot on the last step of the podium here. Again, Clay Morris and Muniz are going to be battling. So if McDonald just plays it safe here, he may be able to find another step.
Well, you see there, just ends up getting a little bit caught on the right rear wheel of Clay Morris there. Definitely a little bit unfortunate, but racing such close waters. And indeed, well, Edith cheering him on in the chat. He's going to come back. Well, he's currently got a meatball flag, so indeed he'll come back, but it's going to be in the sequel, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be in this race unless he can really pull some kind of magic out there within 3 laps. Somebody give him a Formula 1 contract at the box if he can come back and win this race with a meatball flag. Fair play to him. But right now, Tyler Scarelli, though, still holding on to that fastest lap there. And indeed, the battle further back here for P8, ladies and gentlemen, still very much going on with Cedric O'Hine currently getting in the mix with Brady Clapham as well. Oh, dear. That's Mitch Green.
Anytime this purple car is around this pink car, something's liable to happen, Zippy.
Well, it definitely seems to be a high-speed game of Space Invaders at this point, and by all means, I think they just go in and defeated the boss. But right now, you can see Nakarnov lurking in the background there, but he has got that meatball flag. I don't think he will be able to finish the race without serving that, ladies and gentlemen. You see Clay Morris on the defensive there, with Christian Muniz applying a good amount of pressure. Mark McDonald still lurking in the background, going to try and time his move there. Tyler Scarelli getting into a bit of a battle, though, with Roger Sieber currently battling for P4.
Looks like Assad made his way into the pits. I wonder if he had a slowdown. Ooh.
You see there's Scarelli and indeed Alex McLean. These two guys are honestly going to need to go into a boxing ring after this and sort it out. Definitely would love to talk to either, if not both of them. Certainly, as long as they can keep it clean, keep it polite, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly, we've seen some interesting rivalry so far. Indeed, Clay Morris, Christian Muniz, and Mark McDonald have been the highlight of this race so far. Certainly, Asana Carlebeb for a brief portion as well. But with just 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, I got to wonder what's going to be the strategy here. Is it going to be advantageous to lead the race, or indeed do you want to be currently sit back in second to give yourself an opportunity to slipstream towards the start finish?
Well, you know what, Zippy? Last race, I was watching that finish with the lead pack, and for some reason, it never even crossed my mind that the driver behind in third would slipstream, choose which driver to push ahead and kind of make his way into second place. So that was very exciting to watch, and I wonder if these guys feel the same way, and if now their kind of eyes are a little bit wider and they're trying to make some plans here for the end of this race, knowing that some of those things are options potentially.
Well, I think I definitely think that's what is on the mind there of Mark McDonald. But let's take a quick look here at the replay. That, I believe, is Reese Gardner we're looking at right now. He's just giving him a little bit of screen time, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, he's looking good, as you see there, go through the chicane. And definitely a little bit of debris there. Makes his way around corner exit. Everything's looking pretty good. Yeah, nice clean corner there from Reese Gardner.
Yeah, Reese proudly repping the Pit Road Productions logo on the hood of that car. I love that these guys paint the inside brim of their cockpit. I've noticed that a lot of these guys have writings and sayings in there. So it's great to get that cockpit view and see what the guys have chosen to put in front of them on their screen. That's also very exciting.
Well, right now we can see we've got a freeway battle. And ladies and gentlemen, this is for the AM class, ladies and gentlemen. Richard Swindell's currently leading it. Cedric O'Hine in second, indeed. Alex McLean in third. Now, don't get me wrong, Alex McLean was your points leader. He looks to make a pass on the grass, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly interesting technique. I do believe I tried it myself at Alton Park as well. My taking to the wheel there. Actually, Morgan, you would have been in the booth for that one. It definitely went wrong for me at times. So it was a very wet track as well. It's much relief. It was very dry here at Zandvoort. But you can see there, McLean getting as close as he can behind the lane racing machine of Cedric O'Hine, trying to force not just a move, but certainly get into the head there of the number 36 driver. In the meantime, though, Michael Broomhead starts to apply pressure. The 00 making his way back from P10.
Exciting to have a group of AM guys here, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the pack for the finish of the race. Richard Swindell is driving quite confidently up there, but Cedric O'Hine is not shy and will be trying to make a move in the last lap.
Oh, indeed. And Mark McDonald currently, if you go back to the cockpit view of his car, definitely some sound advice, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly one that I could probably do with embracing a little bit more patience, ladies and gentlemen. Patience, certainly not something I've ever really been blessed with, but certainly it seems to be paying off for him so far. He sat there in third, and you see Asana Carlebeb absolutely hugging the wall, ladies and gentlemen. And these guys actually starting to spread out a little bit. Clay Morris has opened the gap up to about 0.7 of a second at the start of this straight, but already you can see there with the draft, that closing down about an extra tenth, almost an extra tenth, ladies and gentlemen, as Christian Muniz looking to try and capture that opportunity as they start the final lap.
This is such a big track for these cars, Zippy, and as we mentioned in race 1, when there's so many entries and exits to every corner, the guys kind of enter and exit at different speeds from one another, and it does lend towards some incidents that we've been seeing tonight.
Indeed we do. We've actually got a request here for a safety car, and certainly I just want you know we do actually have a series that has live stewarding. I'm going to put some information for you in the chat, but right now the battle here in the AM class currently being led by Richard Swindells.
Final lap here, Zippy, with Richard Swindells holding down P7, position 1 in AM. Cedric O'Hine and Alex McLean are getting a little racy behind them. I expect a big finish here for the AM lead.
Well, indeed, definitely going to be a low-risk, high-reward move as Michael Broomhead. He is not in the AM class, ladies and gentlemen. He's got absolutely every ticket he wants to do to try and go and force his way into the middle of this pack. Don't get me wrong, he is a gentleman as well. Actually, a previous winner of one of the BIS championships as well. As you see, Tyler Scarelli. Nope, try again. You see Alex McLean making his way up on the inside there of Cedric O'Hine, and he's got a slipstream still onto Richard Swindells as well. It could be a little bit of buy one, get one free action though. As Cedric O'Hine looking to fight back and trying to make a move here up on the inside of the right-hander.
We just had a comment in chat about Assad setting the fastest lap, so seems like he's in recovery mode and, you know, pedal down, heavy foot back there.
Well, you see, it's going to be a drag race to the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, Clay Morris was able to run away with it by 0.7 of a second, but Christian Muniz and Mark McDonald 34 thousandths of a second between them, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely incredible stuff here. As you see, Michael Broomhead getting incredibly close. That's a little bit of a bump draft. Did it pay off across the line? Not quite, but ladies and gentlemen, that was teamwork at its finest. I'll take a replay of that there. Broomhead trying to give Alex McLean a little bit of a shove forward there, trying to get the nose ahead of Cedric O'Hine. You see Asada Karnabeb absolutely pieing it into the first turn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look here at the race results. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Clay Morris takes the lead by about 7/10 of a second, with Christian Muniz in second. Mark McDonald there in third, with Tyler Scrally in fourth. Roger Sieber took fifth, and Brady Clapman sixth. Before we head over to our M-Class winner, it's Richard Swindells for Blah 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 Racing, currently representing the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner on the side pod of that car. Cedric O'Hine took second, with Alex McLean in third. Michael Broomhead rounding out your top 10.
We moved to 11th place with Asad Nakatembev, who did take through the pits at the end of the race there. John Bedmalid in 12th with Reese Gardner in P13, followed by another AM driver, Jonathan Pakazian in 14th, Mitchell Green in 15th. In 16th, we had Wyatt Cormier, and Robert Covey did not take the grid for Heat 2 as well.
Well, definitely a little bit of a disappointment not to see Robert Covey back in the car, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, let's take a quick look at that replay before having a chat here with Richard Swindells, who's honestly at this point pretty elated with his success so far.
Yeah, it's been a good night for me so far, Zippy. I'm pretty happy.
Oh, I'm definitely sure it has. Certainly two M-Class wins, Richard. By all means, are we going to be able to get you out the rig, or are you going to be absolutely so inflated with happiness that we're going to need to call you an exit strategy here?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need an engine hoist. I blew about 200 feet of snow before hopping in the rig, and that was a great three-wide battle on the last lap there with Cedric and Alex. A lot of fun. I don't usually come out ahead on those.
Yeah, well, certainly. Was just actually watching a replay of that of Michael Broomhead trying to give Alex McLean a little bit of a bump draft toe, to which it kind of worked, not quite. But certainly, Richard, heading into this final race, what's going to be your strategy again? Certainly, your catchphrase, you may not be fast, but you make it last. It certainly seems to pay off for you so far, but this is looking like a fantastic point opportunity here for you at Zandvoort.
Yeah, strategy is the same as race one. Don't crash.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, some wise words from the number 16 of Richard Swindells. We are going to leave him to it, but certainly it's looking good for him, as indeed... What are you saying there, Dustin? Well, we're going to take a quick break here for a little bit of a break from one of our sponsors. It's Toyo Tires.
Lately, we haven't been doing as much. It hasn't been easy. We're ready to get back out there.
Living life a day at a time.
Toyo Tires will be there,
Take a ride.
taking you where you want to go.
Feeling free, happy and strong. On the road where we belong.
Toyo Tires, making tires for your road.
On the road where we belong.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and indeed a huge thank you to Toyo Tires, and indeed to Britain West as well. They're going to be providing the car for both our Pro and M-Class drivers to take a win in. But certainly, by all means, check out the rest that we got here on Pit Road Productions. We got multiple shows going on. Hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly keep your eyes out on BIS as well. They do run multiple series throughout the year and multiple opportunities for you to get behind the wheel of a real race car, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But Morgan, certainly Zandvoort, not a track that I'm too familiar with. How about yourself? What do you think would be your play here in the final race of the evening?
I was not a regular here at Zandvoort until a buddy hit me up and asked me to substitute in for an endurance race, and I got familiar real quick driving through the night. So I went in thinking it wasn't all that, and I left with a very fond feeling for Zandvoort. The banked corners are something special. I really enjoy the multiple lines you can take and the amount of speed that's carried through a lot of the corners. Overall, it's just a lot of fun. It's really exciting to see the 1600s out here as well on a big track like this. They're basically flat out through some of these corners, and they're just really, like we said all night, just pedal down. There is no room for mistakes out here with a driving roster like we have here at BIS.
Yeah, definitely a very tough strength of field here at BIS, indeed, both here and in the other BIS series that we do feature here on Pit Road Productions. But certainly, it's been definitely a good haul for Richard Swindell so far. 2 M-Class wins, ladies and gentlemen. He's absolutely capitalized on that. In the Pro Class, though, I have a feeling there's going to be even more battles going on. But certainly this last race, usually from my experience, things get a little bit spicy. And certainly that extra 5 minutes as well, I have a feeling we're going to see a couple more incidents occurring for the final race.
Yeah, I am hoping for both their sakes that Alex McLean and Mitchell Green find themselves in different parts of the grid. We've seen enough of those 2 cars making incidents, and we're ready for battles between some other people. So hopefully those guys can catch a break from each other. I'm sure it's all in good spirits and fun, but it's always tough when it's the same car. So I'm sure that they are looking at the 3rd race, hoping they don't have a repeat of that race too.
Yeah, certainly it seems to be a little bit of Joe Pesci versus Robert De Niro at this point. It's fair to say neither of them have been coming out on top. Don't get me wrong, Oscar Academy watching entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. But we are indeed going to get ready for the final grid of the evening here at Zandvoort. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Broomhead is going to start on the front row with Alex McLean alongside in second. Moving our way back to P3, it's going to be Cedric O'Hyan with Richard Swindell's in 4th. And in 5th, Brady Clapham, real-life Radical driver. He's going to be alongside Roger Seaber for Reboot Racing in 6th. Having a look at 7th, Tyler Scarelli, frequently setting a fastest lap here. He's going to be there alongside previous BIS Formula 1600 champion, Mark McDonald. Rounding out your top 10 though, Christian Muniz alongside Clay Morris for P9 and P10.
In P11, we do have Asad Nakanabev next to John Benwilid in P12. Moving back to 13th, we have Reese Gardner next to Jonathan Pakazian in AM Driver. 15th, we have Mitchell Green next to Wyatt Cormier in 16th. And finally, we have Robert Covey, who I suspect is not taking the grid for this final race either.
Certainly a little bit of a shame there not to see Robert Covey, and I do apologise yet again. I've been meaning to meet him. Sometimes he literally works all over Canada, ladies and gentlemen. It's just something to do with rethinking Ronas, I believe, and he was a good couple of hours away, and I didn't actually manage to make it out to see him. But certainly he's a pretty stand-up dude. He's actually commentated here on Pit Road Productions previously as well when we've been caught short. He has indeed stepped into the booth himself and the beard, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a pleasure having him on the show, and I do hope that everything's okay because he is a sim racing fanatic, and certainly to see him not take to the grid, it's quite a surprise here. But indeed, we're just waiting on one more car, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Mitch Green. He's going to be starting back there in 15th, and I can tell you as well, Alex McLean, quite a distance away. He's starting in P2. We should be all right, hopefully, for this race.
Is that Tyler Scarelli or Michael Broomhead on the P1 there?
That would be Michael Broomhead. So the 00 indeed gets the start at P1.
Finds himself in a great spot there. Cedric O'Hyan on the 2nd row as well. So these guys find themselves in a good spot again for position 3. For heat 3. Richard Swindell's also there. I expect these guys not to take their time, Zippy. And here we go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for the final race of the evening, and indeed, Michael Broomhead gets an absolutely phenomenal launch there, but is it going to be enough as Alex McLean is going to be hot on his heels as well, making their way down to turn 1. Broomhead's going to be on the outside, McLean on the inside. Already you can see there a couple of cars going free wide, ladies and gentlemen. Reese Garner definitely going to be looking to at least finish this race. Sorry, Reese, but indeed, he has had a rough evening tonight here at Zandvoort, but right now, Michael Broomhead hold on to that lead by about 4 tenths of a second, ladies and gentlemen, and already Richard Swindell is dropping back 3 positions so far.
Alex McLean and Michael Broomhead off to a great start. Mark McDonald also able to find his way to kind of the lead of that little cluster there as well and find himself in line a good spot. So off to a good start. No incidents yet, but I don't want to speak too soon, Zippy.
Yeah, definitely these things can happen indeed. Michael Broomhead's going to be looking to try and pull away as much as he possibly can. Alex McLean very much in tow. Cedric O'Hyan still very much applying the pressure. The whole grid pretty close together, ladies and gentlemen. Just Jonathan Pakazian about 1.1 seconds back. Indeed, Clay Morriso going side by side here with the 183 car, Roger Seaver. It's the first we've really seen him, Roger, so far this evening, but don't get me wrong, he's got 2 titans behind him in the form of young prodigies, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Muniz and indeed Asad and Carnabem. Both of these drivers will indeed be motivated to try and find their way to the front of the pack and indeed topple Broomhead, McLean and O'Hyan off of that podium.
You said it, Zippy. Asad, Muniz, and Clay Morris do have some work to do, and it's going to be exciting to see if they can make all the passes happen cleanly.
Indeed, and we've got Jake Ends here in the chat saying, "I hope Reese can stay safe and show this and show his stuff this race." Indeed, I'm hoping for that as well. It's definitely a unfortunate event when you get to go to the track, and indeed it ends up being more time in the pits and indeed on the surface here. But you see the man himself, the legend, looking very cool, calm, and collected there with an absolutely baller hat, ladies and gentlemen. He has the only Pit Road Productions hat on the planet. I don't even have one, and I gotta say he's doing a much better job of driving than I certainly would. Zandvoort, not on the Princess Brew track list, but look at this, applying a good amount of pressure here to Tyler Scarelli and trying to find his way up into P12.
Yeah, look at that. He doesn't even look phased. Honestly, I feel more nervous in the commentator booth than he does than he looks in his race car. So all the power to him, and I hope for a good result tonight in race 3 for Reese.
Well, certainly that energy there from Richard Swindell says it looked like one of those Mercedes currently being driven by Fernando Alonso there with the bounce mode engaged. I believe he may have blown one of the rear shocks on that occasion. We'll take a replay of that very, very shortly. But right now, you see even more battles happening. There's Mark McDonald having to go into the defensive there. Clay Morris making a move on the inside of that. Looked incredibly close. I wonder if they almost bumped wheels there. And Christian Muniz looking trying to capitalize it on as well. McDonald pretty much hung out to dry. He's going to have to take the outside line. Morris makes his way by, but can he hold off Christian Muniz and indeed Asana Karnabev as well, as McDonald now trying to fight back against Clay Morris.
I love this. We got the 2 Lima guys up ahead of this group, driving away to the best of their ability, and we saw that Mark McDonald had the pace in race 2, so looks like we got a replay here, and Reese may have just gotten a little bit loose there, came across the other drivers. That's unfortunate, but looks like Clay Morris was able to sneak by Mark McDonald, and now Muniz is looking for his chance as well.
Well, what I can tell you is that Richard Swindell's picked up a meatball flag from that contact there. Certainly, it would be interesting conversation here between certainly Reese and Richard. Certainly no bad blood there. So we see a replay of it. It's just Reese on exit. I don't think he's quite expecting to see himself come across the front of his nose, ladies and gentlemen. That's got to be an unusual feeling. We're going to have to highlight that one for the Hall of Shame here in the archives of Pit Road Production, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing yourself crash out in front of you has definitely got to be a unique experience. But right now, Michael Broomhead, though, still able to hold on to that lead. As Cedric O'Hine now going toe-to-toe with Clay Morris.
Clay Morris with his elbows out there, letting Cedric O'Hine know that position is going to be his now or later. Muniz still pressuring Mark McDonald a lot with Assad riding close behind him. So this is a high-pressure group here, and I'm sure these guys are sweating it out, feeling a lot of pressure.
Indeed, they're definitely going to be sweating as Mark McDonald there. He's really getting pushed to the outside of the track as Christian Muniz makes his way on the inside. You see McDonald trying to close the door there on Assad Karnabev. Not quite able to get it done. As I say that, though, still holds on to the position as here comes Alex McLean, ladies and gentlemen. He's just dropped back 6 positions as well. And it looks like Roger Seaver trying to take a piece of the action as well.
Yeah, Cedric O'Hine is just playing it safe, driving in line, but with McLean making a mistake, he is well off in the lead for the M class. So race 3 here and Cedric O'Hine are getting along just fine.
Yeah, definitely looking good here for the Lima Racing leader, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Christian Muniz going alongside Asana Karnabev going to get it done. Under braking, almost contact there. That was incredibly close. Those wheels must have been sheer millimeters apart. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a smoker, you'd understand the sheer context of saying you couldn't have fit cigarette paper in that gap. It was that close, ladies and gentlemen, but somehow, some miracle, these drivers are able to survive. That could have been absolutely catastrophic there for O'Hine. But don't get me wrong, Asana Karnabev is still applying the pressure. Mark McDonald looking to try and follow him through.
Clay Morris had broken free from the pack and has put a small gap of 6 to 7 tenths on Muniz. So Muniz has quite a bit of pavement ahead of him, and he has some work cut out to make sure that that lead pack doesn't drive away from him in this third and final race.
Certainly looks like Cedric O'Hine is still trying to battle here with Asana Karnabev. Mark McDonald, though, starting to apply pressure as well. As you see a little bit of a move there from Roger Seaver there on Alex McLean. McLean now currently resting in P2 in the AM class, the P9 overall. But Mark McDonald there, he's very much had to be on the defensive so far for this race, despite the fact he's up 2 positions. As that is the 36, ladies and gentlemen, that is Cedric O'Hine, and I see more carnage in the background. Oh my giddy aunt, that's wow, that's the 183 car of Roger Seaver.
Yeah, it looks like Mark McDonald and Cedric O'Hine had a couple incidents, very small, and Cedric O'Hine unfortunately got the worst of it. And then Mark McDonald, possibly even on a rejoin here, had another incident. So we'll see, get a closer look here. That was the first touch I did see, and then, yeah, Cedric O'Hine got loose, couldn't keep it together here.
I've got to say, definitely a little bit unfortunate. I have a feeling there was a second part of that, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't see where Mark McDonald picked up his meatball flag. Certainly he had a bit of contact here. So there you go, there's the second part, and indeed comes across, ends up getting caught by Roger Siebert. And Siebert absolutely catapulted over. Definitely an unfortunate series of events there for these free drivers, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Siebert, O'Hine, and Andy McDowell suffering for that. Richard Swindells, I can tell you, is back out on track. But how the tables are turned, Alex McLean now leading the AM classes. Here we go, we've got another view here from Roger Siebert's point of view. Just, yeah, I don't think McDonald realised he was quite that close.
No, I mean, I myself drive on a single screen Zippy, so I know what it's like. You know, I live by the rule where if I can't see them in the rearview mirror, then they must be next to me.
Oh, contact! Carry on.
These guys are not. These guys are not pulling punches tonight. It's. I'm just excited. Sometimes I get caught watching. I mean, these guys are racing hard. Championship points at stake. It's a close battle. The inverted grid has led towards some exciting racing. Clay Morris has quickly found his way to the lead here and is putting a gap on these guys as Broomhead is acting sort of kind of like a little stopper here for this pack of three guys that are usually competing with Clay Morris.
Yeah, certainly Broomhead, don't get me wrong, he is a pretty talented racer himself. He has driven real-life race cars, indeed a Radical, and I believe he's driven a 1600 as well. Definitely a very capable driver, not just in the sim, but in the real world. But right now, we're on board here with Brady Clapham, and you can see there, further ahead is Asada Cardabav and indeed Christian Muniz. Now, don't discount Brady Clapham either. He has indeed, he does indeed drive a real Radical, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually coached by the one and only Mr. Connor Bell. That's definitely a name that you're going to be familiar with, Morgan. He is the Almeida Academy community leader over on Almeida Academy, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, a show we put on every Saturday with much of our pleasure here on Pit Road Productions. And look at that move there right now as he's trying to go and capitalize on this. It looks like Christian Muniz there. He's going to try and make a move on Broomhead, and Broomhead shuts the door. Asada Cardabav starts to get a little bit of a draft opening, and it has the door very firmly shut in front of him.
Yeah, some close racing here and a great view from Brady Clapham's cockpit. We're on board with Michael Broomhead here, looking back at Assad. Assad is getting racy. He doesn't want Muniz to sneak away there, so he's going to be trying to put a move here on Broomhead in the brake zone, taking around the outside here. Both of them doing great in the brake zone to catch up back up to Muniz.
Well, currently, Christian Clay Morris has managed to extend that gap over 1.5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. These four cars battling it out makes for great entertainment and even more security here for Clay Morris as Michael Broomhead is very much in the fight. This is a clash of the pros, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Broomhead doing very well. Asada Cardabav with the fastest lap right now. Indeed, he is pushing a 143.3. Fastest by about a tenth of a second, ladies and gentlemen, as Broomhead really put in a defensive game, but I have a feeling he's going to be sitting up very shortly as Asada Cardabav trying to make a move, and that's Brady Clapham there trying to apply a little bit of pressure on the inside. He's gone for one, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to see him get two drivers here as Christian Muniz and indeed Asada Cardabav lay right ahead of him?
You know, I wonder if Michael Broomhead is listening to the broadcast because it's like a lockup, another incident.
That's got to hurt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is definitely going to be replay job. But in the meantime, Michael Broomhead has managed to run away scot-free. And you see there, it looks like Muniz ended up getting caught up on the side of the Cardabav. And then much to the misfortune there, Brady Clapham ends up getting involved as well. But however, it's not an all-out fail there for Lima Racing as John Bemblid has managed to sneak his way up into third. It's currently got a 1 second gap over Asada Cardabav, who's resting in fourth. Here's another point of view there. Christian Muniz goes to make a move on the inside. I don't think he's quite expecting a little bit of braking action as there goes Brady Clapham through the view. Definitely a little bit different, a little bit unfortunate, but right now really shaking up the order, and indeed the leaders are pretty much spread out at this point. Clay Morris 2.4 seconds ahead, another gap of about 3.4 to John Bemblid as we make our way a little bit further back here. Christian Muniz now got Alex McLean to contend with, who's currently in P5 overall and leading the AM class.
Been a big recovery drive for Alex McLean here in race 3. He's had a good result to put himself on the podium for the AM class. I'm also excited for Michael Broomhead there. It's like the opposite of the commentator's curse. I gave him a challenge and he has answered the call and formally locked down position 2. So hopefully a safe drive for the last couple laps will bring him home on a good step on the podium.
Well, as I take a look here at the YouTube chat, we have Marfiki in there saying, ladies and gentlemen, I have a feeling this may be a friend of yours, Mo. I do remember a particular a particular team member of yours saying that his parents actually have a drinking game for every time I say ladies and gentlemen. I believe that may have been Park or it might have been Austin. I can never tell them two apart, but certainly one of them was moving, and whichever one was, I think it was Parker who was moving. I hope that's gone well for you, buddy, and hope things are indeed going well. Parker's got the young kid. I can never remember, but I do remember saying that one of them was just expecting a kid or something, and his parents freaked out. It was hilarious. But as we get sidetracked, ladies and gentlemen, and Morgan Smith is probably crying himself into his drink very slightly. You can see Brady Clapham has currently picked up a black flag, and that, I believe, will be crossing the instant point limit. Meanwhile, Christian Moniz currently in P5. He's got ahead of McLean, but can he find his way back to the front of this pack? John Benblid, though, applying all sorts of pressure to the back of the Sada Carnaby. We could see a potential exchange here for the final spot on the podium.
So many of these guys have competitive pace tonight, Zippy. It's been outstanding to watch the battles. Here we are on with Benblid, who has had pace all night in all three races. Chasing Assad here with the slipstream, looking to make a move down the inside to get the final lap of this race started off well.
Morgan, if you just want to take a look here in the production chat as John Beverly tries to make a move here on the inside of Assad Nikarnabeb. It's a pretty honest move. It's a pretty good move as they go side by side in the background as well. Christian Moniz going toe-to-toe with Alex McLean, and indeed Tyler Scarelli looking to try and capitalise on that as well as Scarelli makes a move up on the inside. Moniz is clear. Is it going to be enough? No, not yet, but he's going to have the bank section working in his favour, and it looks like McLean has indeed been relegated back down into P7. Christian Moniz absolutely capitalised on that. Meanwhile, John Benblid just a tenth of a second behind Assad Nikarnabeb. He is chasing that last podium spot.
Another big finish. Zandvoort has not disappointed this evening. All three races have been super exciting. We've had battles to watch from start to finish. So we're on board here with Assad and Benblid for the last few corners of this lap.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and both of these guys BIS veterans, ladies and gentlemen, and I've got to say this is something that's often underestimated here. Anybody who's worked on cars will personally probably have a hate for anybody who's an engineer. Sorry, Clay, I know you are an engineer, but he's a different kind of engineer. He doesn't design cars. He's more about the setup from what I understand. But certainly, having a look here at the Formula 1600 suspension setup, it actually looks really friendly. I would happily turn wrenches on one of those. And indeed, if you've ever wondered, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of race teams, certainly a more local level, I think would be the best way to phrase it. Often, it's run by people who work on their own cars. And indeed, I imagine the Formula 1600s have a little bit more dedication than that. But certainly, if you wanted to get involved, let us know, because we could probably try and sort that out for you, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, if you're local to the track, it's definitely going to help. And our very own Clovis Gerard from BIS, I actually understand, was spotting for a team at Daytona this week, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty cool. I can't say I've ever done that. But right now, Assad Nikarnabeb still very much feeling the pressure here from John Benblid, one of the Lima Racing team members.
Yeah, I'm not sure John Benblid is going to be able to close this gap, but I am hopeful to make it an exciting finish here. Looks like we got a small battle brewing in the background as well, so plenty to watch here on track.
Indeed, we've got multiple battles occurring, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, John Benblid applying the closest pressure right now. Indeed, it is on the last lap. Clay Morris, he's about 4.6 seconds clear of Michael Breamhead. It's fair to say, short of any catastrophic mistake, he's pretty much got this slam dunk. But right now, we're on board with the Lima Racing Machine, the number 8 here of John Benblid. The opportunities are starting to close down, and he is absolutely squirreling that car fast. He's going to get an absolutely fantastic exit there as he goes and puts it on the inside of Assad Nikarnabeb. A little bit of an understeer, a little bit of a correction, and then Nikarnabeb manages to hold on. Benblid lives to die another day, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, is he going to be able to push that car all the way up into P3? Meanwhile, behind him, Christian Moniz is now just 1.1 seconds back. He's got to think if he's going to make a move, he's going to have to make it stick or face the wrap. And not just Moniz, Scarelli and McLean are very much in tow as well.
Yeah, both Scarelli and McLean have also had great races here, finishing the race behind Moniz. So looks like Assad and Benblid are finding a little bit of pace here at the end of the race, and Moniz not able to hang on for the last few laps, but these guys putting on an absolute battle right to the finish line.
Well, here you can see Clay Morris making it way over and taking the win here, ladies and gentlemen, ahead of Mike Broomhead by about 5 seconds at the end. But we're going to stay with this battle here. Assad Nikarnabeb looking to try and break the toe, as indeed they go across the line. 0.1 of a second, ladies and gentlemen, 0.2 of a second between it. It looks like Christian Moniz and Tyler Scarelli, and indeed Alex McLean, close finish as well. Absolutely phenomenal stuff battling there in the top 7.
Exciting race here for the final event of the evening. That top 10 inverted grid definitely lends towards exciting racing week after week, Zippy. So A good finish here, and we're going to have the last couple drivers coming around and taking their checkered flag from our famous flagman here in the iRacing service.
Yeah, I do actually wonder why on earth he ever got named Barney, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody knows that story, by all means, please let me know. I've never understood why the flagman's called Barney. Indeed, at times he has been on the strike, but Brady Clapham's still carrying that black flag. He's currently there in P9, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, yet to cross the checkered flag, as it tells me he's going down pit lane. If memory serves me right, you cannot serve a black flag on the last lap because it indeed is a penalty. So I have a feeling he will find his result moved a little bit further back there. As Mark McDonald, currently there in P10, he got caught up earlier on. But in the meantime, let's just give a shout out to Clay Morris. He wasn't just a race winner, hard charger as well. Gained 9 positions in this race.
Absolutely, Zippy. We did mention that right at the beginning of the race that him and I believe Moniz and Assad all had a lot of work to do. And Clay Morris, he made it look easy tonight in that final race. He went straight to the front. He left those guys behind him and drove in clean air by himself for the last half of the race.
So it looks like we just got one more car. We're waiting to cross the line, ladies and gentlemen, and it is indeed going to be Cedric O'Hine in the number 36. If you ever get to meet the guy, by all means, shake his hand on my behalf, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed he is an absolute superstar. As we see Clay Morris, the man, the legend, having a little bit of a celebration there, and maybe overcompensating it a little bit there, goes into one of the Lima racing cars, and indeed the wall there. He's a very happy man. Let's take a look here at the results. I'll tell you what, Morgan, do the honors, sir.
In the lead for race 3, we had Clay Morris, followed closely by Mike Broomhead. Assad Nakhanabeb in P3, followed by John Benwood closely in the 4th position. Rounding out your top 5 was Christian Moniz. Tyler Scaralli pulling P6 tonight. Alex McLean leads the AM group in P7, followed by Jonathan Pakazian in P8. Mark McDonald in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Cedric O'Hine.
I said, I think that may be the best result I've actually seen from Pakazian as well. Good points haul there. But having a look a little bit further back in P11, we had Brady Clapham with Richard Swindell's sadly not able to complete a free race win here in the AM class. He took P12 overall though. Roger Seaver took 13th with Reese Gardner. Definitely, for lack of better words, eating it tonight in 14th with Mitchell Green in 15th. Wyatt Cormier in 16th and Robert Cobley sadly yet to make an attendance here this evening. But I've got to say, what an absolutely fantastic evening and entertainment here. Let's catch up with one of our drivers. I did actually describe you as being a prodigy earlier on, Assad, and certainly looked like a pretty strong race day for you. I had a couple of incidents, but certainly some good battles as well. Tell us about it from your point of view.
Thank you, and good to see you. From my point of view, I mean, it was just up and down, honestly. Qualifying, it was good. I was P3. I was feeling good. I knew that I had the pace for the top. Going into race 1, it was just surviving mostly. There were some close calls, but it was very fun. Race 2, it kind of fell apart a little bit. Just in the middle of it, had a little incident, put me back into 11th. And yeah, for this final race, it was just try to survive again. It worked. There was one incident again, not minor, but it was still fine. Still got 3rd, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. It was quite aggressive I'm seeing in the field tonight there, but able to get a good collection of points indeed. Certainly yourself, you have partaken in some real life racing experiences. Why don't you tell us about that very quickly and give a shout out to your sponsors as well?
Okay, so yes, I've done one race so far this season. It was the SCCA Majors. I got 1st and 2nd that weekend, and I couldn't do it without the help of Flat Out Racing, who are my racing team, and my sponsors, Performance Racing School and 45 Motorsports. They always support me. They've been giving me everything I need for my racing. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without a shadow of a doubt, that is Assad Nakhanabeb, who has been very potent since the day he showed up at BIS, and certainly he is indeed developing, not just as a human, but as a driver as well. But Assad, we are going to leave you to it, and congratulations on some absolutely fantastic results this evening, some good battles as well. We look forward to seeing you over at the next week here on Pit Road Productions.
Thank you, and thank you guys for the broadcasting, and thank you to Michael.
Well, I've got to say, always a pleasure there to speak to the one and only Assad Nakhanabeb. But Morgan, I understand you've been able to catch up with the number 48 of Clay Morris.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here, Clay. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. I was driving a bit heated in the 2nd and 3rd race after what happened in the first one, but it worked out okay, so I'm happy with the night overall.
Yeah, understandably so, with a tough result in the first heat. But I do want to focus on that third and final heat where you did start in the middle of the pack, so to speak, and you had a lot of work to do. But you quickly made your way to the front of the pack and then got some clean air behind you as well. Talk a little bit about making your way through the pack and any particular battles that you enjoyed most this evening.
Yeah, I think my way through the field kind of just worked out because I figured out a good move through the long right and left-handers towards the middle of the map, or towards the middle of the track, sorry. And I think I got three people the exact same way, passing them into the chicane from the move set up the 2 corners before. And then kind of just working turn 1. It seems like a lot of people were a little bit shaky in turn 1, and I found a solid line that I was able to modify if I needed to without losing too much speed, so it just kind of worked out pretty nicely.
Absolutely. So for at least 30 minutes of the racing tonight, we saw you involved in some very close, high-tense racing. How were the battles tonight? How was the wide track at Zandvoort with the banked corners? A lot of incidents for how much room was on the track. So what was it like being so close to those drivers and having to make decisions live there as the cornering speed was so different with some of the altering lines?
I found it pretty good. It seems like people were being respectful in the banking for the most part. I didn't see anything too crazy. People were lifting when they needed to lift, and I didn't see anyone wash up. Maybe someone further back, but I didn't see it towards the front. Honestly, the racing was good, except for the first race, and I just felt the first race was a little bit unpredictable in the front pack. I was having a bit of trouble knowing where they'd put their car, but after that, people were racing clean, so I was happy.
Absolutely. It looks like you definitely settled in throughout the evening. Congratulations on a good points haul there in the final 2 races as well. How do you feel about your prospects moving forward in the championship and next week?
I still have hopes, but it's going to be very tough to catch up and pass Christian. He's such a consistent driver, and even when he has a bad race like this one, he's getting 5th at the worst, right? So I just have to try to keep it clean, keep it towards the front, and hope luck favors me in the last couple of rounds.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be there rooting for you. Is there anyone you want to say hello to or have a shout out before we let you go?
I'd like to say thank you to Robert and Wera, as always. They kind of helped me at the entry to this series. That's why I'm running the Wera livery. And thank you to Mike and you guys, as always, for putting on such a good show.
Well, thank you, folks. And that's Clay Morris there with the winner for Heat 3 this evening. Thank you, Clay. And we are back with Zippy here.
Thanks, Morgan.
I've got to say, absolutely fantastic stuff. Not throughout the whole evening there, Mike, but certainly a P5, a P10, and indeed a P2 in the close. Certainly you were definitely getting a little bit spicy, but I've got to ask you a little bit about your bump drafting move there at the end of race 2. Tell us exactly what was going through your mind when you did indeed apply the nose cone to the back of Alex McLean.
Yeah. So Alex is a Britannia boy. We were in the chat there. And, I caught them and I realized it was a first, second, third battle. And I didn't really want to get involved in it. But putting myself in the middle. But Alex got a bad exit onto the final section there. I think it was Cedric was trying to overtake him. So I thought, I'll give him a shove, see if I can get over the line quicker. But it didn't work out. But you try.
Oh, it's definitely some admirable entertainment by any means, and certainly that's why it always pays to have a teammate. And indeed, if you want to sign up for any future BIS events, this is the man to talk to, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know if our producer has it, but we do have a QR code. You can literally scan that on your phone. Magic happens, ladies and gentlemen, modern technology and all that. Oh boy, you can scan that on your phone. And it'll take you over to the BIS Discord. By all means, get in there, get involved, and certainly you could even feature on one of these broadcasts, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to feature you on here. I do believe we could take a few more entries for the Formula 1600. Radical is absolutely full, maxed out, but don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, we have more opportunities for racing here with BIS Britannia iSports as well. But Mike, I've got to say, anybody you'd like to shout out while you're here in the booth?
Yeah, always my family for watching, Mimi and the girls for always being there, and of course all the drivers, everybody who puts time and effort into this. It's such a fun time to come and race with your friends, basically, and you guys. Obviously, without you, nobody would see anything, and we would just be talking about our gaming to anybody who was half listening. So it's a great show, and can't wait to look back and watch the action.
Oh, absolutely. And indeed, this is more than just a game. It is a sim race, ladies and gentlemen. It is an experience, and it is a intense competition. If you've not seen it already, by all means, I suggest you go back and watch the broadcast. Or indeed, watch some more here on Pit Road Productions. But let's give a shout out to Mike Broomhead as well. I can definitely sympathize the amount of work it takes to organize a league, and not only that, organize a league with such fantastic prizes, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Mike, you would know these gentlemen better than I would. Britain West actually providing the car for us for, I believe, the second season running as well.
Yeah, my team in 07, 08, when I raced in the series for a short period of time, good guys, all of them. Dave Klubine, we've had Connor Klubine, his son, race with us before, and Stuart Ross raced in the championship and then went on to go and win the championship in real life as well. But we've got a great championship. Christian Muniz is back in 2026 in the Brian Graham racing car. But it's good to have such strong partners and such nice guys that will give a seat to those who deserve. So everybody here is shooting for that prize, and we'll continue to do it as long as people are around to race.
But certainly, we'd love to see more people getting involved. I've got to say, how many opportunities do you get to get behind the wheel of a race car? Certainly, if you compare it to Gran Turismo, you used to have to fight with people all over the planet to get to drive a Nissan. Well, this is even better, ladies and gentlemen. This is a purpose-built race car, not something that's been modified. It is purpose-built. But, Mike, we are going to have to leave you to it for now. We'll let you hang around in the booth because why not? You're a VIP, and indeed, you're part of the team. But meantime, Morgan, I understand you've been able to catch up with this gentleman. It's Christian Muniz.
Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight, Christian. Very eventful evening out there on Zandvoort tonight. Tell us a little bit about your battles. I know that some of them were good and some bad results. Tell us a little bit about your evening and the close racing that was going on out there in the lead pack.
It was a fun one tonight. Last race didn't go in my favor, but the first two I was able to partly get lucky, partly work the strategy a little bit. First race, it was just a matter of kind of throwing a curveball for them. I didn't want to be leading going into the last corner, so I was defending, trying to make them go for a move, and it resulted in like a bunch of chaos behind and stuff like that. So I was able to get what I wanted pretty much, one person ahead of me, and then get them going. The draft is strong enough coming out of the last corner that you're able to get by them before the front straightaway. So basically whoever's in second, if there's somebody behind, or if second place is right on first place's bumper, then second place will most likely win. So that's what I was trying to plan for going to the last corner, and it was able to work out. And then second race there, it was again just trying to keep up with Clay. He was super fast this week, so trying to stay with him. I wasn't able to for the most part, but then last lap there, I was able to put in the heater, just dipped the tire out of the last corner, which kind of killed my run. Which I was still happy with the second. And then third race there, Clay was able to get by because we just kept battling. It is what it is. We kind of lost him a little bit there, and then got collected in some incidents towards the middle of the race. But all in all, this track was a lot to deal with when it came to the racecraft side of things, because the drivers and I were just talking about it. There's such a variance between people's lines, what they're doing on track, where they're braking, yada, yada, yada. So trying to remember where everybody else's braking zones is, remember yours, it was a whole thing. And I just misjudged the braking zone a little bit to how everybody else was driving it and ran into the rear end of somebody. But apart from that, like it was just one incident, which could have been many more, but I'm happy with how today went.
Yeah, perfect. All being said, some good finishes out of you tonight. I know there was a lot of close racing and a lot of elbows out. I believe we may even have some guest questions coming in here. I believe our resident leader, Mike, may want to ask you a question here. I may have misspoke. I do want to point out here, I'm always learning, Christian, so I've spent a lot of time at BIS, and it's been a pleasure to be here. I know you may have seen me on track, but maybe not because I'm so far behind you guys, but how do you feel about the points that you earned tonight? Clay Morris said it. Even when you have a bad result, you still managed fifth. So a good recovery drive after the incidents, still maintaining good points haul for the championship moving into next, 2 weeks from now for the next 1600 race. How do you feel about your championship standings overall?
I'm honestly not thinking about it too much. Every race, there's such a variable about what can happen, whether you get lucky, whether you don't. So I'm just going into every race with a clear headset, know that I'm racing some of the cleanest drivers, like racing Clay, Assad, stuff like that. It's always a good time. And yeah, just putting my best foot forward into every race and whatever the championship is. So trying to do my best. So if my best is a championship win, if it's second, I'm just happy with how my results are on track.
Well, you're a big part about what is making BIS so special this season. You, Assad, Clay, the likes, everyone in the lead pack and everyone throughout the grid there with their elbows out and always doing tight racing here. So is there anyone you want to shout out or say hello to before we let you go this week?
Just I'd like to reiterate again how much Brian Graham has meant to me so far. That's my livery that I'm racing here in iRacing, but in real life I also raced with them. They're the Formula 1600 team I raced with this year in the real life Toyo Tire Series, and then I'm racing with them again going down to the US and racing Formula Race Productions at tracks like Mid-Ohio, Road America, Barber, Road Atlanta, a couple others. So racing those, I'm super excited for and very grateful that Brian Graham's having me back this year.
That is a meaningful shout out. Absolutely. So thank you for joining us in the booth tonight, Christian. Big results and a big shout out there to Brian Graham. Back with Zippy here in the booth for wrapping up our show this evening.
Well, just before we do, we are going to steal this gentleman here. It's Mark McDonald. And certainly, Mark, you're definitely no stranger to the BIS leagues. And indeed, you are last year's champion. So tell us a little bit about your real-world experience getting to drive a Formula 1600 car. And indeed, something I believe you'd very much like to repeat.
Hey, Zippy, it was incredible. I mean, first off, it's the test that Mike puts together with all the Britain West guys. It's a legit test. It's not like a show up and do 3 laps and like, oh, you got to drive a car. It's, okay, we're going to do 4 or 5 sessions. It's a half-day test. First session, I want you to work on this. Second, I want you to work on this. Third, we're going to work on this. And David and Adam is the mechanic that I worked with. It's a class act. It's a huge rig, and it's a proper race car test, which is a little bit crazy. And then it's seating wise, obviously way different than how you are in a sim at home. And I don't have like a Formula car sim setup or anything, but you immediately start getting right back into the feel of like, oh, I feel how like the back squats when you get onto the gas, and then you're aiming for your exits, and you're kind of going through all the motions. So it's an incredible experience. I would love to be able to do it again. So far this year in the championship, it doesn't feel like I'm getting there unless nobody shows up for the last 2 rounds. But it's even for just the regular racing with everyone. I mean, you saw the racing tonight was really incredible with everyone dicing basically every lap, and it's mostly super clean. I had some issues in my final race that really was. I got to apologize to Roger. Like, it was totally my fault. I thought it was a different person that was falling back instead, and I just messed up. But the overall that experience is an incredible experience, and something that is really great for whether you're a young racer that is coming up and is getting your first taste of a race car like that, or you're someone like me. I'm in my 40s, and I raced karts when I was a kid, and I did skippy school when I was a kid, and then I thought I'd never go and do any kind of racing ever again. So it was incredible to be even back at a racetrack in a race car and getting all of that experience.
Definitely, it couldn't happen to a nicer man indeed. Mark McDonald, an absolute scholar and a gentleman. Certainly, we are very happy to see that you benefited here from the experience that BIS has to offer. And I do have to wonder as well, do you feel it made you a better driver as well, getting that real-world experience?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that the car feels in the sim, the way that it turns, and you mostly use the throttle, and like you don't have to turn the wheel that much, and you kind of drive it with the back end, it feels the exact same in the real world. I mean, they're different cars. It's the car that I tested is not the same array 1600 that's here, but like Formula 1600 cars are relatively similar in the way that they feel, and really the way that you kind of turn in and then really use the brake to let off and get the rotation in the car, and then get on the gas when you have the apex in sight. I mean, it all feels very similar. It was very familiar to doing skippy cars in my past, and kind of how I even when I started running the 1600 in iRacing, I was like, oh, this just feels very natural. It's like when the car slides, I'm like, I know exactly what to do right now. So even for this race, I was kind of broke some of my own rules. I had quite a bit of time for work, and I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, so I missed the last round. So I haven't been in the car really in the sim that much since. And this particular track layout I downloaded now 3 hours ago or whatever, and joined about 20 minutes before qualifying started. So sorry, Mike, I know I'm supposed to put in more practice than that, but I was like, okay, I know the track. I'm just gonna have to figure out how to be quick at it, and use quali for kind of a practice session, and then found myself like pretty okay on the race. So, all of that kind of thing, from being comfortable in the sim, translates right to the real world. And then, at least for me, I'm not going to get discovered by anyone. There's not scouts out there for me. So of course I'm just going to be heads down, make no mistakes, don't write off the car, don't hit anything, don't do anything silly. I did drive off once going too deep into a corner or whatever, but it's like, okay, you need to just be level-headed, enjoy the experience, and I had a fantastic time.
Definitely, it would be an experience I'd like to partake in myself as well. Certainly, the 1600 seems like a very approachable car. Certainly, if you get into it, it rewards talent, and it also doesn't penalize you too much for having a little bit more of a rusty experience level. But Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. As always, a great advocate for BIS and indeed for Pit Road Productions as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the number one car, last year's champion, it is the one and only Mr. Mark McDonald.
Thanks, Sip. See you later.
Well, that is indeed going to bring us to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching, thank you very much. By all means, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button especially, and by all means, share the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to see this get in front of even more people, and we are indeed chasing that 1,000 subscriber milestone, ladies and gentlemen. But if you want to see more of the Formula 1600 Championship here, the Toyo Tires Winter Series, you're going to have to wait about 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be here February the 11th at 8:30 Eastern, live on Pit Road Productions. I have a feeling that it may be myself back in the car for that one as well. So you'll be treated to the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner and indeed Morgan Smith there, with probably Christian Hill at the production controls. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much from all of us. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the production booth today, one and only Mr. Morgan Smith, and a huge thank you to Dustin Ollis as well for stepping into the booth here for the first time with us here on Pit Road Productions. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.